Good morning, Kai, Jordan, and Miles. Today is May the 12th. We're going to be working on lesson 60, which is fractional part of a number, part one, or percent of a number. Okay, so it's going to give you a word phrase, and we need to translate this into an equation that we can solve. Okay, the first example, which is example 1, it says, what number is 0.6 of 31? What number? What number means I don't know, where we're going to mark it as X. What number is means, the word is means equals. What number is 0.6, 0.6 of, the word of means multiply 31. Okay, so it's saying what number is 0.6 times 31. Okay, if I write parentheses right here next to the number, that means multiply. I'm multiplying 0.6 times 31. If I multiply 31 times 0.6, I'm going to equal 618. And now I have this decimal point that's 1 in 31 times 0.6. I move that decimal point in. Basically, you remember, if I say 60%, 60% equals 0.6, right? 60% equals 0.6. So if I say 60%, which is not the whole, okay? 100% of 31 is 31. 60% of 31 is going to equal 18.6. And you see how I did that math right there, right? Okay. Now, the next example that they give is 3/5. 3/5 of means multiply 120 is means equals X. 3/5 times 120 equals X. Okay, if I do this out, it's going to be 3/5 times 120 over 1, because 120 as a fraction is 120 over 1. Now, what I should do is reduce this as low as I can. 5 goes into 120 how many times? Well, I know, because off the top of my head, but what you should do is 120 divided by 5 would equal to, right there, 24. Okay, so this becomes a 24. Okay, so now I have 3 times 24. 24 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6, 72. 72, okay? So I have, this is going to equal 72 over 1, okay? 72 over 1. 3/5 times 120 equals 72. My answer is going to equal 72, okay? That is the example 2 that they give us in the book, all right? We're going to go to percent of a number, which is very similar, okay? Very similar. We're going to need to make an equation out of whatever they tell us. Example 3 says a jacket sold for $75. 40% of the selling price was profit. How much money is 40% of $75? How much money, I don't know, how much money is 40%? If I was to write 40% as a decimal number, that would equal 0.4 times $75, right? How much money is 0.4 of 75? How much money is 40% of 75? Okay, well, how do I solve that? Well, I multiply 75 times 0.4. And what is that number? That's going to equal 20, 28, right there. Yep, right there. And then I put my decimal point in right there. $30 is 40% of 75, okay? $30 is 0.75. I'm sorry, 0.4 of $75, all right? I can do one more, which is another example, all right? A certain used car salesman receives a commission of 8% of the selling price of the car. If the sales person sells a car for $3,600, how much is the salesperson's commission? Well, he gets 8%. If you look at the question, this is example 4, he gets 8% of the selling price, okay? So 8% of 3,600 times 8%. Well, what's 8%? 8% is 0.08. So I'm going to multiply 3,600 times 0.08, right? And that's going to be 0.008, 4, 24, 28, 0, 0, 0, right? It's 28800, right? Now, how many decimal places do I have? I have 2 decimal places. Guess how much money he gets? He gets $288 for selling that car, which is pretty good. So you need to understand what the question is asking and how to put it into an equation. They give you a bunch of lesson practices, and sometimes you're going to have to answer the question in a fraction. Sometimes you're going to have to answer the question in a decimal. Sometimes you're going to have to answer the question in a percentage. You need to figure out what the question is asking, put it into an equation, and solve it. Okay? We'll see you tomorrow.